Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to the Krame Center for Mindful Living. Welcome back to those of you who are a regular part of our meditation group and mindfulness community. And a warm welcome to those of you who might be joining us for the first time. So just a little bit about us. We are a global nonprofit organization whose mission is to make the benefits of mindfulness, self-compassion, and positive psychology accessible to all. Our goal is really to help people become more resilient and live better lives through the various programs that we offer. And we offer affordable pricing and scholarships, as well as these free weekly meditations. So we are kind of well into our theme for March and April, Spring into Resilience. And this week's theme is happiness versus meaning and purpose. And so just to talk a little bit about that, in our culture, we're obsessed with happiness. The word has become overused and oversimplified. And true indications are that the focus should instead be on living with meaning and purpose as the way to create a solid foundation for resilience, greater life satisfaction, and sustained well-being. Happiness, is an emotion that ebbs and flows, while having a deep sense of meaning and purpose is really enduring. And research shows that meaning, not happiness, is actually the solution to the rise in our mental health crisis in this nation. Happiness is a positive mental and emotional state, but it comes and goes like all emotions. Meaning, however, is about connecting to something bigger than ourselves. People who say their lives have meaning believe that their lives are significant, have purpose, and are coherent. And research findings also show that having meaning makes people more resilient, more engaged, and more at peace in the face of illness, a challenge, or even death. So what makes your life meaningful? It's really important to identify what has meaning for you. And it's also important to understand that meaning is often a matter of mindset. When we are intentional, when we are mindful about our lives, we're more likely to cultivate a greater sense of meaning and purpose. And let's just talk about belonging for a moment, because it also creates meaning. Our sense of belonging is determined by relationship connections in which we are valued for who we are intrinsically, and where we value another for who they are intrinsically. We all need to find our tribe and forge relationships in which we feel understood, recognized, accepted, and valued. To know that we matter, right? To know that we matter to others. We can find belonging in our communities, in relationship to those who we love, or even in micro connections with strangers that we encounter in daily life. Belonging really lives in moments, and it's a choice. We can choose to cultivate belonging with others. So don't be afraid to connect with strangers, even if it's something as small as making eye contact, right? Making eye contact and smiling at a stranger leaves both parties feeling connected, even if it's just for that brief moment. Both people leave that interaction feeling seen and valued, right? Rather than invisible and unworthy, which happens when we ignore others as we walk by. So focusing on small micro connections is a way of building belonging and ultimately meaning. And then also important to consider is that mindfulness is really central to belonging. When we are present, belonging is built. When we are distracted, like on our phone, when someone we love is speaking, it is weakened. Another barrier to belonging is an unwillingness to be vulnerable. Belonging requires opening ourselves up, and that can be scary. But we should know that research shows that when we do, people are disarmed by it and they like us more. So don't feel afraid or ashamed of showing what's inside to others in big or small ways, whether it's telling someone a story from your life or showing vulnerability by waving at a stranger or introducing yourself to someone new at work or at a social gathering. One of the best opportunities for building belonging and meaningful connections is through active and engaged listening and responding when we're having conversations. A simple but powerful way to do this is the next time someone shares a piece of good news with you, try to do something to celebrate their news, their good news, through your words or actions. And the psychologist and meditation teacher, Tara Brach, says the way we speak with and listen to others can communicate love or hate, acceptance or rejection, right? So meaning and purpose really go hand in hand. Our purpose is a long-term goal or a core value that organizes our life and typically involves making a contribution to others, right? So the purpose is our why, our reason for living. We all need goals that motivate us and drive us to make a contribution to the world. Purpose comes in all shapes and sizes. It can be big, like curing cancer, but it can also be small, like doing one act of kindness a day. And the theologian Frederick Buckner says, your vocation lies where your deep gladness and the world's deep hunger meet. So our purpose doesn't have to be a grand capital P purpose, right? It can be found in the healthy meals you prepare for your family, lending your elderly neighbor a hand when they need it, or routinely driving a coworker to work because they don't have a functioning car. And there's nothing wrong if you don't have a capital P purpose, because purpose comes from small acts of everyday love and service. And also, purpose isn't something you find hiding under a rock. Rather, you live with purpose. And when you have a live with purpose mindset, every action is endowed with purpose. And there's a study showing kids who do chores have more purpose. So even chores can become purposeful because they're a way to contribute to the family, right? Create a feeling of home. And we can create purpose when we connect to, when we're connecting what we're doing to the bigger picture and adopting this service mindset. And research really shows that when we think about how the world could be a better place and how our work can help others, we build that pillar of purpose and we're more motivated to persist in our tasks. So, while not dismissing happiness, because it is an emotion like any other emotion and is a part of living the full spectrum of the emotional human experience, understand that to create real meaning in our lives on a deeper level can really sustain us through even the most difficult times. And Emily Esfahani Smith says, when we pursue and value happiness, we often end up unhappy. When we pursue and value meaning, we end up feeling a deeper sense of contentment. All right, so we're now going to be moving into the formal portion of our meditation. So I'm going to invite you all to adjust your posture if necessary and make yourselves as comfortable as possible. And then either closing your eyes or just softening the gaze. And then just taking a nice inhalation and exhalation. Kind of letting go on the exhalation, letting go of whatever came before and whatever's going to come later on. So just allowing the mind to settle as best as possible, the body to settle. Just giving yourself permission to arrive and be here fully. And then perhaps using the contact points of your feet on the floor, your sits bones in the chair, or your hands wherever they're resting on the thighs or in the lap or in each other. Just allowing those contact points to be a gateway into the present moment, further grounding yourself into the body. And now, as you're ready, turning your attention to the breath. Just following each inhalation and each exhalation from beginning to end. So not needing to change the breath in any way, but just following along the rhythm of your own breath cycle. Breath by breath. And moment by moment. Nowhere to go, nothing to do. Just attending to the breath. As a trusted friend, a steady companion. As a way of being present with yourself in this moment. As a way of inhabiting the body and knowing that you're inhabiting the body. And each time that the breath, each time that the mind wanders away, just gently guiding awareness back to the breath. And the mind will wander because that's what minds do, and that's okay. But when you notice that it has wandered, that is the moment that you are present once again. Just continuing to be with your own breath. One breath in, one breath out. Another breath in, another breath out. Maybe taking a moment to notice how the breath is in this moment, just noticing the qualities of the breath without attempting to change anything. So just tuning in. How is the breath right now? Is it easy? Is it labored? Is it shallow? Or is it deep? Long or short. Maybe even noticing where in the body the breath can be felt most vividly for you in this moment. And just bringing your attention there, whether it's the rise and the fall of the belly, or feeling the expansion of the chest and the deflation of the lungs on the exhale. Maybe for you, it's a coolness at the back of the throat as you're taking the air in, and perhaps a little bit of warmth and moisture on the exhale as the air passes through the nostrils and across the upper lip. So just tuning in where the breath is most alive for you right now. And now I invite you to imagine the story of your future self. So taking a moment to look ahead at the life in front of you. What is the ideal future you imagine? What sort of person do you hope to be, and what sort of life do you hope to lead? And perhaps thinking about all the areas of your life, relationships, career, hobbies, spiritual life. And so just spending some time now reflecting on how the ideal vision of yourself might contribute to a greater sense of meaning and purpose. How might the ideal vision of yourself contribute to a greater sense of meaning and purpose? And now the invitation is to reflect on ways in which you can move towards that ideal. How can you move towards that ideal to create more meaning in your life? What are some actions that you can take right now? Maybe for you, it's beginning to write poetry or volunteering or mentoring the young. Maybe it's daily walks and connecting to the vast and enduring qualities of nature. Or perhaps for you, it's rededicating yourself to something that you've put on the back burner because of time constraints, like a regular meditation practice, a hobby, a sport, or other physical activity like dancing. Just thinking about moving towards creating more meaning and purpose and what that might be for you, what that might look like for you. And maybe even imagining what that might feel like. And now taking a moment to think about something that you're engaging in right now in your life that gives you a sense of belonging, of meaning. Belonging has meaning. There are ways in which you can increase your sense of belonging, whether it's something small like connecting with a stranger on the way to work or engaging the local barista at your favorite coffee shop, joining a club, or volunteering at a battered women's shelter, contributing to your community. And just thinking about how taking this action might create a greater sense of purpose, how it might cultivate more meaning in your life. What does this sense of belonging feel like? Perhaps when you think about what that feels like, a greater connection to your meaning and purpose emerges. And as you're reflecting, seeing if some emotions are arising, perhaps a sense of ease, contentment, greater calm, or maybe even a bit of joy. But perhaps not. Perhaps for you, these emotions are not rising right now, but that's okay too. But if you are feeling any of these emotions, maybe tuning into how it feels in the body. So, where in the body can you feel any physical sensations accompanying these emotions? Maybe it's a softness in the belly, a warmth in the chest, tingling in the fingertips, and ease in the neck and shoulders. Or perhaps for you, it's just a general sense of well-being or lightness. And now just letting go of this practice, taking a moment now to settle, just allowing your experience to be just as it is. There's no right or no or wrong. And allowing you to be just as you are in this moment. And you can feel free to keep your eyes closed as I finish with this poem. Life is for a purpose. The existence of life is in creation. It is when we realize the essence of our creation that we can make meaning out of our life. A life without a purpose is never a life that will bring any meaningful fulfillment. If there's one thing to be done, it is to find and discover our purpose. When we have an understanding of what our life is meant to be, we will find joy in fulfilling our purpose. To make our creation worth its existence, we accept ourselves just the way we are. And that will begin the process of illumination and take us to heights in life that hold meaning and purpose. All right, so thank you for your practice. If your eyes have been closed, you can allow them to gently open. And I'd like to leave you with my weekly invitation and a couple of announcements. So the weekly invitation is this. I invite you to choose one activity, just one activity this week that will contribute to a greater sense of meaning and purpose for you. You know, it can be as simple as seeking out an awe-inspiring experience like listening to a beautiful piece of music, going for a walk in the woods, or simply gazing up at the stars at night. And announcements, I have two. Our spring Mindful Self-Compassion 8-week course begins on April 28th on Thursday evenings from 6:30 to 9 p.m. And our spring mindfulness-based stress reduction course begins May 6th on Friday mornings from 9:30 till noon. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for your practice. Be well and take good care. Bye, everyone.